Aatrox, since you're in a good mood, I can be vulnerable and open up. I got main character syndrome today. Could you check my messages, please? We got a main character, folks. We got a main character. Let's see what the protagonist has to say. Your message, I believe, is about Apple manufacturing 96% of iPhones in India. Let me break that down. My understanding is that Apple has announced they're going to move all iPhones sold in the US to be produced in India. That's their plan. They would like to have their supply chain out of China because Tim Cook, who's a supply chain god, has done a deep analysis of the world by watching My Marketing Monday and realized that America and China don't get along. Okay? Now, there was, I believe, a $900 million tariff bill that Apple had to pay this past quarter. So they are very much frustrated with tariffs and are doing their best to get around them and build elsewhere. But they can't build the whole supply chain in America for a variety of reasons. So they're going to India, which is going to be at worst 10% tariff rather than. So that's my answer to your question, is that I think one of the beneficiaries of China and America's tiff is India, because India is the place you can go to avoid the tariff that still has some of the infrastructure and some of the lower cost of labor. India's coming up huge. Yeah, you could say that. I mean, India has its own. Here's one thing I wish more people would understand. I wish more people not from America would do this, to be honest. I feel like Americans, at least around here, are not all Americans, but Americans around here are pretty good at saying this. More people should be like, hey, my country's fucked up too. I'm not saying, listen, it's particularly bad right now with Trump, but as I read more about the world, every country is having problems, dude. Real serious problems. Real serious change, real serious problems, real serious unrest. I wish people were like less nationalist and prideful about punching down and more like, hey, yeah, I get it. I mean, we're in the middle of even Nordic countries. Obviously, Nordic countries are doing the best in terms of most quality of life outcomes. But even Nordic countries, if you dig under the top veneer, off the top surface, there's problems. Things are changing. There's things that people are frustrated with. There's real problems. So I think that's a better attitude to have, is what I would tell you. Not enough bike paths, a true Nordic crisis. Okay, but as a Clancyville chatter, I love my country. I do think that Dan Clancy has built, if not a great country, a really great propaganda machine that keeps all its citizens in line. They certainly aren't speaking out. You know what I'm saying? Did you see the TSMC ban? Oh yeah. Little news update regarding that. Taiwan noticed that the American chip factories are actually doing pretty well. They're actually doing pretty well. They're like making some high-end stuff. And so Taiwan was like, wait, this is kind of spooky. So they banned it. They said, no. TSMC, you are not allowed to make the highest end stuff outside of Taiwan, because if you do, it's a bad look for all of Taiwan. So again, it's really funny because we've talked about this for, a while now on stream, and it's feel like we're living through history. Like every few weeks, you'll have a big major update on something so important that's happening, on something that's happening around us. It's interesting. It's not all cool, but it's interesting. We're really living through history. Aren't we always? Technically, yes, of course, but it feels like there's years where nothing happens, but it feels like things are happening. Isn't China preventing manufacturing from leaving China? The reason China did not want to open a BYD plant in Mexico is because they didn't want their technology to get stolen, which is kind of rich coming from China. That's why I was annoyed with some of the comments too that were like, yeah, base China for ignoring IP law. Like, who gives a shit? And it's like, okay, that's a fine stance to have if you're anti-IP law or whatever. But that's not what China thinks. China is very protective of their IP. They're extremely protective of their own. And if it's two Chinese companies in China, they're very good at disputing the allegations and like they have a core system for it. It's not like their stance. Their stance is like, hey, we're going to ignore your IP when it benefits us, which is fine. If you're a Chinese national, it's like, we just want the best for me. But I don't think it's fair to be like, he's got some based ideological take. His take is what's good for me is good for me. The US knew China would steal their IP and still built there. I wouldn't say the US did. I'd say the incentive was usually like the fucked up incentive that we have around CEOs paid in stock on short-term bonuses. We had so many companies where the CEO was paid to hit a certain stock price target short-term. So what they did was we're going to offload all our IP to China, build it in China. Who cares? Because I'll get my bonus. I'll cash out. I'll be rich. And then by the time they have a competitor with all our IP that's destroying us, I'll be gone. That's just short-term thinking that benefits the leader at the expense of the organization, the company. And that wasn't just America. That was, I think there's a great example of, don't laugh, Siemens Trains. Siemens Trains is a huge, is it German? Yeah, it is German. It's a German rail train company, one of the best train constructors in the world, really high knowledge of trains. And they were thinking about going to help China build high-speed rail. China would said, you could only do it, we're going to pay you a lot of money, but you could only do it if you form a joint company in China where you own 49% and we own 51%. And they're like, I think they want to take our technology, but there's so much money now. And so they ended up doing it. So Siemens Trains sets up this joint company in China. They start building high-speed rail there. And pretty soon all of their technology has been aped. It's been yoinked. And now China can build high-speed rail way better and doesn't need them. And now they're getting outcompeted elsewhere in the world. So now when Siemens Trains wants to build in, Africa or something, Chinese train companies can come in and outcompete for a better price. So they kind of fucked up their long term for their short term. And that happened in America and Europe and all over. People did that. Technology transfer is part of the deal. It's not yoinked. Yeah, okay, fine, a different word. But what I'm saying is, had there been a strategic look at it from a long-term aspect of the company, they wouldn't have done it. But because it was for a CEO in the short term, they were able to hurt the employees and the GDP of their own nation to help themselves personally get rich. I mean, I'm all for removing IP restrictions. Yeah, but China is not. That's what I'm saying. It is frustrating to hear someone be like, yeah, I so base to be against IP. And it's like, okay, but that's not what they're doing. Just to be clear, that is not what they're doing. They are not on your side. They're not like, yeah, I hate IP. If that's your stance, okay, fine. But they are extremely fiercely protective of their IP. I'm feeling very open today. So if you have a question you've always wanted to ask, and you're like, I wonder if he's gonna crash out at me, I'm not going to today. I'm not going to. I'm feeling very uncrash outable. That I finally had a good day where my routine was good. And I had some really good personal conversations with people that made me feel more hopeful. Here's what I'll say. I'm just going to get into it. Okay, I'm going to get into it. The main topic for today is that I've been feeling kind of stressed over the past week and a half or 2 weeks. But I've just been feeling some type of way about this existential question where I kind of realized, I'm talking a lot lately about, man, this thing from Trump sucks, or this thing from Elon sucks. And I just realized, man, no matter what, at minimum, there's 3.5 more years of this. There's at minimum, I need to give space in my heart and mind and world for other things. I just don't want to talk about it that much. I know it's all important. I care about it, but I want to talk about other things because there's so many things in this world worth talking about. And when I focus on that, I end up in a spot where I feel like I'm almost repeating myself. I don't want to do that. I made my point. I think people know where I stand. I think he's a bad president. Okay. I think he's done a bad job. I came in with, I think, a pretty open mind, and I've been let down with low expectations. But some people will tell me, and this is why I'm saying this. I'm saying this now. Some people are like, you have to talk about it, and you have to talk about it in this way because it's important. And I am just saying, I disagree. And I think actually one of the core things I can do is when it's important to me talk about it, I should also talk about other things and build a space where people can feel free to talk about other things they're interested in, and it doesn't become this, infinite feedback loop of the same thing. Now, people are saying play some video games. I don't know about that particularly. What I will also say is when I'm happiest with my stream is when I feel like I'm doing what I'm excited about off stream. So if I was all day at NVIDIA fiending to go home and play a video game, and then I go online and I play a video game, I'm doing what I wanted to do. And if all day I'm reading something interesting, I'm I want to talk about chat about that, then that's what I want to do. I don't want to do anything other than what I want to do on stream. And so I felt like in the past week and a half, I was kind of talking about news things that I didn't personally feel that excited to talk about. I was just doing them because it was a big deal. So I feel like I'll always feel comfortable and happy if I'm just talking about what I'm interested in an honest, sincere way. And so that's what I want to do. And that's what I'm going to do. All right. I just wanted to get that out there because we had a real good conversation about that, or with regards to the lemonade stand, about how we want to like structure the show to be a little more conversational and casual and less like presentation-y. And I was thinking about what I like, and I was looking at my channel and I was like, yeah, this video does well, but like, do I feel great about what else? So anyway, this talk isn't too far off from how my roommate came out to me as a furry. So long story short, my fursona is that of a koala. Okay, that's what was all leading into this. Lil bro trying to reach self-actualization. I can't. Nah, you better stick to basic necessities, Maslow. Lil bro better focus on food and shelter, bro. Lil bro thinks he's top of the pyramid. Better stay down to the fucking bottom. Better pick berries and shit.